Hey there Catholic bakers, it's Ariel, and today I'll be showing you how to make homemade cinnamon rolls. These cinnamon rolls are the classic, they're amazing, they are melt in your mouth, tender, so let's get started by doing our prayer. Lord, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for being so good, for seeking us when we are lost. Thank you for sending us blessings like being healthy, having a family and friends. We ask you to help those who do not know they are sinning and those who do not believe in you. Bless Mother Mary, embrace us, and help us grow more in our faith. Amen. Let's get started with our recipe. Now you'll need a large mixing bowl, but we'll get that in a second. You will need 1 cup of whole milk and a half cup of water. I like to do this combination just to get the best results, but you can use all water if you want to. And we are going to heat this in our microwave for about 10 seconds, and then we'll see the temperature we want. Let's go ahead and check this. This is perfect. It's at 113 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what we want. We want around 105 to 115. So I'm going to put this in my large mixing bowl. And I'm going to add my yeast. This is active dry yeast, and this is just 1 packet. And a little bit of sugar, because you will need a 1/3 cup of sugar. I'm just kind of like eyeballing this, and then we'll whisk this. Amazing. So we are going to let this for 5 minutes. We're going to let it sit, and we are going to wait for it to activate. I'll show you what that looks like. The yeast is activated, so we can move on. I'm going to add the remaining of my sugar. And then, okay, so after my yeast is activated, I'm going to add my sugar, my melted butter. This is a 1/3 cup of unsalted butter. If you want this to be melted, I'm going to add that too. And then I'm also going to add my eggs. You will need 2 large eggs for this recipe. And you will need 1 large egg yolk. Egg yolk. Also need 1 large egg. It just makes these cinnamon rolls really tender, melt in your mouth, delicious. And I got some eggshell here. That's why you always crack them in a separate bowl, in case. And we are going to be adding that too. You will need a ½ teaspoon of salt for flavor. You will also need around 2 cups of flour. I'm bringing it a bit because I want all my ingredients to be well combined. Now you can do this in your electric stand mixer fitted with dough hook attachment. I am just doing this by hand because that way you can see for yourself the results. And I just think that, and I know that some people don't have electric stand mixers. So you're going to add more flour gradually. It's still very wet, as you can see at this point. And I'm sure I'm going to need my flour. You want some flour extra too, because you don't know if you're going to need more or less. With dough recipes, it's really not as easy as saying, oh, you just need 4 cups of all-purpose flour. This is all-purpose flour. I have around 4½ cups of flour, and it looks like I'm going to need more. So that's fine if you need more. It's fine if you need less. It really just depends on how the consistency of your dough is looking. And I know dough recipes look very scary. I was also scared at first, but it really isn't. It's just being confident and trusting in God that everything is going to come out very nicely and delicious. So as you can see, this dough is kind of like pulling away from the sides of the bowl, but it's still very, very shaggy. Okay. So if I touch it, it does stick to my hand. So it means it needs more flour. I'm going to add this rest. And you do not want to use an electric stand mixer because you are going to run out the motor of it. So just use a spatula or a wooden spoon. That would work too. Or your electric stand mixer. Stand mixer would be nice at this point. So I am going to go ahead and transfer this to a clean, dry surface. Life easier. I'm going to sprinkle this with some flour. And transfer this to your lightly floured surface. We do not waste any dough around here. So get that last bit. And we are going to flour top of it and our hands too. Now it's still very sticky because it really is. It still needs more flour, and that's perfectly fine. If it needs more flour, as you can see, sticking to my counter, that's okay. You see my clean hand does not stick. But you do want to add as much flour as it needs. You can't overdo this with the flour. It's a little hard to do that, but you can do it, so just be careful. But if it's sticking to your hands, to the counter, it needs more flour. It's okay. And once it's not really sticking anymore, just go ahead and knead it. And kneading it just means, kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like massaging, I guess, the dough. And we just add any flour if it's sticking. Now, when I know my dough is ready to rise, because it does need to rise, I know when it's a smooth, elastic consistency. If it's not like that, then I keep kneading it, I keep adding more flour, and I also know when it does not stick to my counter anymore. If it keeps on sticking to my hands, to my counter, it means it's not ready for rising. And look at that. But it wasn't sticking, and it is. You can see I'm not shy to add more flour wherever I see it needs more. Now you can use a cream cheese icing for this cinnamon rolls. That would be amazing, but I do not have cream cheese. And if you want to see more cinnamon roll recipes, please tell me, because sometimes I'm like, what should I make? Amazing. So this looks like the consistency I like. It's smooth. If I touch it with my hand, it's not sticking to me. It's really amazing. So let me grab my large mixing bowl. Okay, so I like to grab a large mixing bowl, a clean one. So you will need a large mixing bowl. I like to get olive oil, and then I just like to pour this to my bowl. I like to get a paper towel and just spread it all over the bowl. And then I like to transfer my dough here and then cover it in all the oil. And just cover it, and we'll let this rise for 1 hour or 2 hours or until it's doubled in size. So I'll see you in 2 hours. So you're going to want to whisk these ingredients. You know, a half cup of light brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon, an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and an 1/8 teaspoon of allspice. We'll whisk these ingredients together. Mine are all whisked in. And you will need 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Mine is super soft. It's really kind of melty, and that's what you want. So I think my dough is ready because it is literally doubled in size. So let's go ahead and punch this. And I like to get my hand with flour because then it sticks to your hand. As you can see, getting all that air. Let's transfer this to a lightly floured surface. And we are going to roll this into a rectangle. And if it sticks to your rolling pin or to the surface, just flour this more. It's going to be a little bit sticky. That's normal. And I want this to be a rectangle. And we'll flour this and our surface just in case if there's any sticking. Okay, so if my rectangle is not like I want it to be, I'll just use my hands to get it the size I want. And you'll want to prepare your glass pan too. I'm using a 13 by 9. So let's go ahead and add our butter. So we're going to use this very soft. You just want this to smear and this little knife. Okay, so we are now going to add our filling. I like in all of my cinnamon roll because this is the best part. And if you didn't do it evenly, just use your hands or you can use your knife. We're going to put it all over our butter. Amazing. So now we are going to do it with this side. And it's okay if it's not even. You can see some parts are more fatter than others. That's okay. Tuck that end. And that's our log. So now I'm going to get a serrated knife so we can cut these rolls. And I'll use this one. I'm going to cut the excess or the ends because they're not really pretty. They don't have a lot of cinnamon, but I am going to cut the rest. Now you can start in the middle or at the end, however you want. Just make sure to cut them. Now I am not a professional. My cuts are going to be very horrible. They're going to be bigger than others. It's okay. You just want them to be delicious. It's okay if your fillings getting all over the place. Some people like to use a unflavored tooth cloth. That is fine, but I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. But you can use that. And these are going to rise one more time. So we can get bigger cinnamon rolls. Now I have this extra. It doesn't really have any cinnamon roll, so it's fine. And now we are going to go ahead and cover this with plastic wrap, and they are going to rise for 30 minutes. So let me get my plastic wrap. So cover them with plastic wrap, and I'll see you in 30 minutes. Go ahead and take the plastic wrap. Your cinnamon rolls should be so puffed up, and your oven should be preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to bake these for 30 minutes or until they're golden brown and they looked cooked. So once your cinnamon rolls are still warm, but they're not too hot, let's go ahead and cut into one. So you make this super delicious, gooey, melt in your mouth cinnamon roll. I think you're going to like this one, and if you do, please tell me. May God bless you, and I'll see you next time.